All right, welcome to Stock Analysis Fridays. All right, let me know if the audio is A-OK. I assume it is, unless I hear otherwise from anybody out there, but hopefully that audio is A-OK. And if you lose it during the presentation, of course, let me know. All right, let me go through some administrational items so we can jump in and start taking a look at stocks pretty soon here. First thing I want to talk about, of course, are the risks involved in trading. We want you to realize there are risks in investing in the markets and also in trading the financial markets. But like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really go hand in hand. But we want you to be aware that it is possible to lose some or all your money trading the markets. And also to be sure to check with your financial advisor or money manager before implementing any of the trades we talk about here, just in case they are not suitable for you. Okay, many factors go into that determination, and that's why you should check with your financial advisor. Also, too, make sure you're trading with money you can afford to risk, called risk capital. And then finally, know how to do, of course, all forms of risk control when you do trading. And also, too, past performance does not guarantee future performance. So keep that in mind. If you need help with risk control or trading in the financial markets, I have a number of books available on Amazon as well as major bookstores, so you can check those out. You can go to our website as well and take a look at those. Under education, you can find our books. We also have software tools that we've been using for over 20 years now. I've been trading the market about a little over 30 years now. And these software tools, I think, are the best in the market. We call it the ultimate trading system because they define entries and exits based on price patterns in the market. We also have scanners that find stocks to trade as well as risk control. So you can check those out too. Also, too, like us, subscribe, and share to your friends. The more people we get here, the better. Okay, so keep that in mind. And thank you for attending. I know everybody here is, of course, very busy, and Fridays is no exception, especially. So we appreciate you taking the time to being here. All right, I want to go over really quickly Amazon here. This is one we recommended last week, and I still am really recommending this. I think it's a great trade. It's pulling back a little bit, but don't be concerned. All the indicators here are indicating more highs are coming, so really liking that a lot. In terms of what you're looking at here, if you're new, I'm using NinjaTrader with all our software tools on each time frame. So notice I have a chart over here. This is the 60-minute chart. This defines the short-term aspect of whatever I'm looking at. This is the daily chart. It gives us an intermediate term aspect. And then finally, our weekly chart on the far right here is our long-term aspect. So when I look at a individual market, whether it is a stock, an ETF, futures, whatever it is, I always look at it with these three time frames because they really help me be precise in my entries and exits. So that's why you see three charts up there, and it's called multiple time frame analysis. At the top here, this rainbow colored gizmo up here is our scanners working. We probably won't be using those today, but what we use those for is to find markets to trade. You know, there's over 10,000 stocks. So how do you find them, right? Well, the scanner is the answer to that. And then on the far right here, we have our risk control software called the risk reward calculator, where we actually determine our trade size based on where we're getting in, where our stop is, and our associated risk. So that is also available. All these tools are available for you at the traderscoach.com website or our Applied Reality Trading website, which is what our software is under. All right, so Amazon, once again, I really like it. Okay, hopefully you were able to get in early enough on it, but if you haven't, you're getting a little pullback now, so I think it's still good. The next one I want to look at as a recap here is Google. All right, Google is one that I think is also, just like Amazon, a real good buy at this particular point. We're thinking more highs, eventually from 162 to about 211. So I'm really liking Google these days, and I think it's a fine place to get in now. And I think it's going to be a long-term trade. It's not going to be something that's going to reach that target zone in the next few months, but not a bad one to be in for a while. Okay, so keep that in mind. Let's take a look real quick at the cryptos. A couple I want to show you here, and then we'll get into any that you want to look at. All right, so GBTC is the ETF on the market, stock market rather, for Bitcoin. Now you can trade Bitcoin in the futures market or whatever, however you like to trade it. There's BTC symbol and so forth. But many people choose the GBTC because it's kind of simple to implement in your stock account. So in this case here, you know, we're bullish on GBTC back in the turn of the new year, 2023. We're still bullish. We expected a pullback. We got it. We may not be quite over on that pullback. We still have a red owl, which is this histogram down here on the daily chart. But it's a temporary. It's going to be a temporary pullback at best, I think here. So I'm still thinking a really nice long position. I think it's going to get up to about 25. Possibly to 37 short term. Not a bad return at $16.07, right? So I think that is a pretty good one. I do think this could be a major bottom on the weekly chart. And if so, we could get above the $60 mark, which was the all-time high roughly in 2021 or 2020. Yeah, 2021. All right, so keep that in mind. The other Bitcoin one type of crypto, well, it's crypto, is RIOT, RIOT. This is the RIOT Blocktrain mining company. This is another one we like a lot as well. Has not pulled back quite as much as Bitcoin did. It pulled back in this little area here and then surged forward. We're thinking, again, this is going to take out the 2021 high. We really feel that above 80 bucks. So I don't think it's too late to get in at $11.56. So that's another one we're recommending. I want to take a look at USO. USO is the ETF for oil. And this is another one that pulled back and now seems to be, you know, in the target zone once again. So do I like USO? Yes, I do. All right, I think it has a potential to get up to around 100 to 126 by the end of the summer. And so we're kind of liking that. We went into it earlier this year, got stopped out. We're back in it. So I think that looks like a pretty good one. All right, TLT. Let's take a look at the bonds here. This is the ETF for the bond fund. And, you know, bonds, if you take a look at the weekly chart, I mean, you can see it's just falling out of bed here, really starting in 2020. And I love to get into it because I do think, you know, eventually you're going to get a good rally on this. But our indicators are indicating the bottom's not in yet. So I would kind of go easy on that one and stay out. Let's take a look at gold, which is GLD. That's the ETF for gold. Now, gold, we think, has more highs coming. It already reached a target zone on both the daily and also the weekly. But we have a green PTF here and a green one here on the left side. That's that indicator that's all green down here, which indicates with a 75% probability that we're going to make higher highs. So we're thinking it's going back above probably around 215 to maybe 244. We're sitting at 185. So gold looks pretty good. Silver, let's take a look at that bad boy real quick. And silver as well, we like that. We waited a long time to get into that because we had this red PTF down here in the center chart, finally turned green, gave us the green signal. So we're pretty bullish on silver as well. So those are ones that I think I'd like to share with you guys to just kind of give you a clue as to some pretty good ones, I think, to get into. All right, let's take a look and see what we got out there. All right, Al, how you doing? Joe, how are you? All right, so Al has a laundry list here, STKL, which is fine, Al. Love it when you come. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, so this one let's open up that weekly chart first. So I'm going to open up this chart. All right, so this has history back to about 2019, and what a messy chart that is on a weekly time frame. Now, I really like the Elliott wave in terms of assigning wave numbers and letters to corrections and so forth in the market. That's a tough one to figure out, okay? That is a really tough one to figure out. So this is a head scratcher, okay? I usually don't trade head scratchers, but let's take a look and see if the daily chart's a little more cleaner on this. And I'm going to open that chart up for just a moment. All right, so normally when you have a big impulsive wave up like you have here, you have a wave 4 and then another high, you know, in terms of Elliott wave. Problem with this one is it retraced too much. So that's not a wave 4 at all. This could be a 1, this could be a 2, this could be a 1 inside a 3. We may go up like that. So that is a possible configuration on that. All right, so we'll see what happens with that. The daily chart does give you an opportunity to trade these swings, and you can see our software working beautifully on that swing to the downside as well as this swing to the upside. And right now here currently, all right, it's got you kind of flat right now. So we're kind of waiting. This is a little MP. That's a minor pyramid. The bearish pyramids have been stopped out already, so you're no longer short. I'd like to see it get above this little level over here, like around $9 to prove itself a little bit more. Let's see if the 60-minute chart is a nice chart to trade on this. You definitely got a long trade early on that. Pull back, stopped out a nice profit, and you are long again on the 60-minute chart. So if you wanted to take a short-term trade on that, Al, I think probably you could do that. Tough to figure out the target zone, but if you time this right, we could get above 12, but not my favorite one. Okay, I think there is probably better ones out there. Let's take a look at SFM and give that a second to load. All right, so FSM, okay, again, in terms of stocks, not a lot of history going back to about 2014, 13, right around there. In terms of stocks, that's not very long. Again, a fairly, actually a lot of volatility on this one. And you can tell that right away by looking at the owl. See how the owl's going up and down, up and down, up and down? That's a lot of volatility. When you see that, you have to be very careful in your stop loss placement. Now, there's no question about this being in a trend up, and look at all the green pyramids. But you've got to set your stop about 2 to 3 pyramids back, because with this kind of volatility, you're never going to make it. All right. Where is it going? I have no idea on this one. I really just don't. Okay, that's not a good Elliott wave candidate. Let's see if this one, little messy, not my favorite. Okay, the trend has already been to the upside for quite some time. So, you know, you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm seeing 5 pyramids in a row on the well, 3 anyway. So it's getting towards trend exhaustion at 4. I would stay away from that one. Okay, let's take a look at GTX. All right, again, pretty sloppy, Al. How do you trade that? Right? I mean, that's a sloppy market. Always only going back to July. All right, again, I wouldn't probably do anything with this. We'll go ahead and open up that daily chart. But if you can tell me how to trade that, okay, I'd like to know, because that one is impossible. All right. So again, when I get to one like this, why bother? All right. There's so many better ones out. All right. Let's see. PAPA. Let's check that one out. Oh, wait a minute. You said, yeah, Papa. Okay. PARA. PARA. Sorry. PARA. All right. Let's take a look at that one. Give that a second to load across all the time frames. Okay. All right. So this one's a little bit better in terms of more history. All right. The other interesting thing about this is it went way up and way down. Okay. Boy, look at that one price bar. Look at that one price bar all the way down from 100, all right, to 45. How would you like to be long that day? All right, that's a tough one. All right, so that's on the weekly chart. All right, we've got a red PTF currently sitting over here. All right, so you don't want to be taking any long trades with that. I wouldn't even do a fib retracement here, because that is such an inaccurate bar that occurred back in April of 21. So again, this one's kind of a weird one. Let's see what the lower time frame, see if that gives us any idea. All right, lower time frame on the daily seems to be better. Okay, I'm kind of liking that. All right, so that's better in terms of figuring out where this thing could go. But again, you know, in doing a fib here, it's kind of a weird situation, because that's not a wave 4. That's a, you know, all the way up and all the way down. It's almost like Bitcoin. So this actually is triggering an entry right now. So this would be possibly a short position here, a long position here. So that's not bad. I'm just trying to figure out the target on the PTF is only, you know, 25. All right. So you'd have to hope you get a nice breakout to the upside. So, you know, it could do quite well. I'm trying to figure out what the target would be on that one. That's a tough one. I do not like to do fib retracements on something like this, but it did march up orderly. That's an orderly march up. This is not. All right. So something is a little chaotic there. All right. On the 60-minute chart, a little bit of volatility here. Again, tough to put your stops on these short time frames. So again, not my favorite. All right. Not my favorite. Let's take a look at HAS. All right. So HAS, I'm going to open up the weekly chart here, take a longer, broad look at it. Okay, so HAS. All right, so here's where we had a bottom. All right, our indicator, the PTF, with a 75% probability, is indicating that that's not the bottom. And certainly had a little swing up here, and now we came back down. Seems like we had a little bullishness come in, all right, today on this, but we still have a lot of red here and here. So there's not a long signal generated yet on the weekly. Let's see about the daily, and the daily's got a red PTF too, but that's close to going green. So that may be eliminated if this thing keeps going up. So some good news came out on this obviously today, and we've got the bullish situation on the 60-minute. Let's open that up. So we had a gap up today. Pretty tough to get in on this time frame because you'd have to put your stop down at 50 and it's at 61. Then you got to figure out where the target is. And at least on this one, we could do possibly a retracement. So your target on this could be somewhere around 67 and you're at 61. So you might get another 10% out of this, okay? But it's risky because of the fact that it may fill that gap before it goes higher or at least pull back somewhat. All right, so that's the deal with that. If you were short this on the leg down with our software, you would have been out on the gap up today at a profit, by the way. So there you have it. All right, that is HAS. All right, OCSL is our next one. Let's see how that bad boy is doing. Okay, so this one, let's take a look at the weekly chart and see, get a good clear picture of this. All right, enough history on this one, going back to 2012, had a bottom, it looks like here, okay? A rally off that bottom, probably coming down to some form of an inflection point. And an inflection point really is nothing more than normal profit taking using fibs, puts you right into the target zone right about there. So probably still coming down a little bit. We'll take a look at the short-term time frames to see. Nice run up here. Pyramids did a great job here. Pyramids got you short now. All right, so let's take a look here and see. It's still red here. So it looks like we've got more lows coming. But if you look at the 60-minute chart, we do have a green PTF. So we're still kind of moving up, but it's not a new trend. It is just a bounce in a downtrend. So we're still in the correction, and we have not hit the high probability inflection point target zone here. So I would say at this particular point, not a long trade. If you want to try a short trade for a little bit, you could, but you have to wait a little bit because it is still coming up. All right, so that's kind of where that is. You don't want to have any green on the short-term time frames if you're going to take a short trade, right? All right, so that is OCSL. So LEG is our next one. Okay, not bad on the 60-minute chart for a possible short-term trade. Let's open up the weekly and see. All right, kind of a messy weekly chart a little bit here, a little bit of volatility too. So probably a bottom here, possibly wave 4. Let's draw some fib retracements and see if that is a possibility here. Went way too low for that. So maybe you have a wave 3 here instead, still kind of within the boundaries, a little messy, not very clear on that. So you have a green PTF. So this could be a scalp trade. If you're going to take a trade off the PTF, we call that a scalp trade. So this is a 75% accuracy rate, right? So when you have that, when you have a pullback, there's the trade opportunity, because if you go in here and the target is the highest high in the green area of the PTF, then that's where the 75% probability is saying the market should return to. So that's pretty substantial. That's, up around 55 and a half to 60, right? And we're sitting at 32. That's almost a double your money. So that in alone is not a bad trade. Of course, that's a long-term chart. It might take years to get there. All right. So you definitely want to check that out. And also, too, it's still in a downtrend. You still got an active bearish pyramid here, and you have a bearish thing. So it's not ready yet for a long trade, even though the potential is there. So let's take a look at the shorter time frames and see. All right, so we've got a bullish situation here, bullish here. Okay, so this is giving you a possible entry here, but you're going against the long-term time frame. So you want to be careful about your trade size. All right, so based on this here, you could possibly get a rebound to 38 to 40. So that's a possibility out there, okay? Again, not one of my favorite ones, okay? Usually on a rebound, you should be able to pull out about 50%, okay, into 100%. So you want to look for those really incredible moves down or incredible moves up. So the profit taking is huge, and that's where you can make your money quickly on those pullbacks if you're going to trade those. All right, so that's LEG. All right, PYPL, which is PayPal, of course. Let's take a look at this bad boy. All right, so we've looked at this one obviously before, and we were thinking maybe a bottom here at some point with a target in this area here. All right, so that's kind of what we're thinking on this. Let's see if we've got any. Okay, so we've got a red PTF now on the 60 and a lot of vol. Look at that. Look how messy that is. So you don't want to trade the 60. Forget the 60. You don't want to go long yet because the 60 has a bearish PTF. Let me just see if it turned green. Whoop, it did. It just turned green. Okay, that's a good sign. All right, so basically what we want to make sure here is that this bottom here, which is this bottom here, holds, right? So it pulled up, and there's your vicious pullback. And now I would say if it gets above here, all right, you're good to go for a long position. You got a little red here, so I'd hold off, okay? Don't take any of the pyramids until that turns green. So I'm going to put PayPal. It's not a buy today, but I'm going to put it on the watch list, okay? So that's out of all the ones we looked at, that has potential, but we've got to wait for that a little bit longer. INTU, we looked at this last week as well. And this is one we actually liked last week. Had a pullback, okay? So for this week, if you're not in it, don't get in it yet. All right, wait for this red PTF over here to turn green. So we're having, right down, it's right at the inflection point, okay, right now. So looks like we're going to go back down a little bit lower. Okay, so that's saying under 415, so right around in there. But I don't think it's going to go lower than this bottom, okay, because this is green, this is green. I think it's a great long-term trade on this one. So my feeling on this is not quite a buy. If you're in it from last week, stay in it, all right? Just make sure your stop is way down here. Let's see if it comes down a little bit more by next week, and I think maybe that will give you a better entry again for another long position. So if you missed it, hold off just a week or so and let's take a look at it. But INTU, we'll put that on the watch list too. But I think that's got great potential. I think 773 to about a little over 1,000, I think, is the probable target for the wave 5 on that. We're just getting a pullback a little bit. So wait on that. All right, Frank, how are you? SOFI. Al, thank you for all those. That was great. All right, SOFI is long at $6.10. And you do want to be long here, okay? So that's okay. No longer, the short position has been covered on the weekly chart with our software. We came down to this area. We got a pyramid here. We got green, 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 green. SOFI I like, all right? So let's put SOFI down as a buy, okay? And let's figure out a target for this. So you got two targets. One using the PTF for a scalp trade. So that puts it right around the 850 mark, okay? Now, if you want to be exact, you can be exact. Just grab the data box, all right? It's over here on the far right. Put your pointer right over that, and that has a high at $8.24. So the PTF is saying there's a 75% probability that the market will return after the pullback and go to that price. So that's not too shabby, all right? But there's another possible target lurking out there. And the other possible target can be a fib retracement off this. Now, there's not a lot of data on this one either. So I would definitely plan on the PTF target first and see what happens when it hits that. But possibly $11.90 up to $16.70. What is that? 1 cent. So it looks pretty good. And I put my stop probably under this first pyramid right here. So probably a stop right around $5.50 at this point. So I'm liking that one. Okay, so far that one is good. Okay, so you can definitely check that out. All right, Jim, how are you? All right, Jim is a new purchaser of our software this week. So welcome, welcome. All right, let's take a look at FVRR. Okay, so say that 10 times, right? FVRR is one we like, all right, for a variety of reasons. One is, if you look across all time frames, all right, first thing we want to look at is owl's green, owl's green, owl's green. So the dots connected for the owl, right? Next thing we want to take a look at is, if we're thinking of a long trade here, which we are, all right, we want to make sure that there's no red PTFs. This is yellow, which is neutral. That's okay. This is green, which is great for the PTF there. And then this is yellow here. Okay, good. All right, so this PTF is indicating probably a high of at least right around here in the upper 40s to 50s. Not so bad. But we think probably if you hold on to it a little longer, you can probably get to the 117 to 174 mark. All right, so that's kind of what we're looking at there. So not too bad. So I like this one. So let's keep this on the immediate buy list. That's FVRR. Thank you, Jim, for sharing that. Jim, we had a great day in the day trading room. We appreciate you coming and joining us. We took out some excellent profit, didn't we, on the MES? So we trade these on the short-term time frames as well. All right, so that's FVRR. Okay, so let's back to Al here. TEF. All right, so this is a fairly inexpensive stock at $4.50. A little bit of sketchy liquidity. See, when you look at the 60-minute chart and you see a lot of gaps, and you see kind of these I'm going to call them square type of patterns, you know the liquidity is extremely low on that. So that's a warning sign, because that means you may not get very good fills. Okay, so you got to be careful. All right, you can see the little bit of liquidity here too. Not the weekly chart's fine. Okay, that looks like a normal chart. It's just this is a little bit. Doesn't mean you can't make money on it, but you have to just be careful in the fills. So a nice short trade on the pyramids. You know, we enter when these get hit. These are basically fractal determinations of support resistance in the market and trend trading patterns. So this was a bearish trade with a stop here. We trail our stops on the new pyramids and took us out there. All right, so now we really haven't gotten anything currently here, and we have a red PTF here. So this is just a small rebound in a market that should have once again resolved itself to the downside. So short term, okay, on the 60-minute chart, we're probably going to go a little higher, maybe $4.56, another 6 cents or so. Let me just draw a possible retracement in here. Yeah, I think it's Russian roulette at this point. I think it's about just a tidbit higher. And then I think probably at that point, if that PTF does not turn green on the weekly chart, the bottom's not in on this. So I wouldn't touch this one. Okay, this is TEF. All right, SJT. Now, just so you know, there's a lot of stocks we look at that we don't touch, right? But that is the business. You got to go through a lot of different stock opportunities to find the right ones that make sense for your style of trading. And so that's the game. You know, you kind of have to find the needle in the haystack, right? So that's what trading's all about. All right. So you want to kind of, I have, once again, my litmus test on this is I have about a 1 minute head scratching litmus test. If I have to scratch my head for a minute, okay, to try to figure out what's going on, that's too long. All right, I move on. You should, if you have been doing this a long time, what you're doing is looking at the pattern that you like to trade. And if you can't see that right away, don't force it. Okay, wait, keep going until it jumps out at you, because if you look at enough stocks, it will jump out at you. All right, so let's take a look at this SJT. All right, first of all, you had the run up, okay, pyramids, you got stopped out, but you had a nice little profit, okay. So where is this thing? Okay, we go back to 1997, which is quite a while. All right, so not bad history on this bad boy, but we went way up and we went way down. So I think probably what you're looking for, Al, is some type of bottom here. You got to pull back here. So you really, since the bottom here formed, it's been pretty straight up, right? So we're due for a pullback, and pullbacks are all about profit taking in the trend, unless it's a change in trend. So we're almost down to the inflection point. The problem with this particular one, when you're coming off a bottom like this, if this is a wave one of any type, or even an A wave, B wave and wave two can be kind of nasty and almost retrace quite a bit of wave one. So the inflection points, you want to see if the market bounces off those inflection points. So if it comes down here and bounces off, that's a good sign. And then you have another inflection point, could pull back and then bounce again. And then that's the trade right there. Okay. But you want to kind of be careful not to jump in here, because A, it's still coming down. This is red. We got a bearish minor pyramid, which indicate corrections are in place. So there's no reason to jump into a long trade right now. All right, we got to let this thing dissolve a little bit and get out of its move down. Now, what about a short trade? All right, well, a short trade, this is a correction only, so you're getting kind of close to the pullback area anyway, so I don't see much opportunity too much there. Let me just see, I'll draw the fibs here so you can see what I'm talking about with that. So we have 1, 2, let's draw it from wave 2 right about there. So you're already in that target zone. So I wouldn't short this. And this is indicating here, red here. It would have been a better short up here when this was red, but now you're close to the PTF target zone, which is just a tick over today's price bar. So more bearishness is going to be there, but I don't think it's going to go down too much further. And we're seeing bullish divergence in the OWL on the 60-minute time frame. Okay, so no go in that. Stu, how are you? SNOW. Let's check out that bad boy. All right, so this is a bottom fisher. All right, not much history, goes back to 2021, but an incredible green PTF profit opportunity. So here we're sitting at 146. The PTF on the weekly chart is saying that there's a 75% probability we're going to regain and go above 420. That's what it's saying. Now, it's not saying when, and it's not saying how long that's going to take, but that is an ultimate scalp trade for a weekly chart, right? So we're in a bottoming pattern here. You still got red here, okay? So that's a little concerning. You can come down a little bit more, and if that PTF stays green, all right, that means the PTF target, bullish target zone, still remains. All right, doesn't mean it can't come down a little bit more. So I would not go into this yet, because you're still in a consolidation area. You can see it on the daily chart too. I mean, look at the mess here. What you want to kind of do is wait for a breakout, and this would be a nice breakout pyramid here above. You're gonna have to wait till above about this area here. Okay, I think probably we're looking at what? Let me just grab the cursor on that and find out where that is. So that breakout point is 178.70. So 178.71. All right, so let's see where that is over here. Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit lower, right about there, I think. There it is. Okay, right around there. So you just wait a little bit. So I'll put this down as a potential for the watch list, but it's a no-go right now. Okay. I don't want you to get stuck in this for a year before it breaks out, because that's what the possibility is on that. All right, so DVA. And this one is for iBelt. How are you? So the audio is okay today? Decent today? Hopefully it is. All right, not a bad one. All right, DVA. Let's take a look at the weekly chart and see where this thing could possibly be going. All right, so using our software tools, what we're able to do is you see where the owl is peaking here. All right, that means we're in wave 3 or finished wave 3. Okay. All right, good. So the audio is good. Excellent. All right. If you don't have that type of help, you may have thought this was a 3, this was a 4, and this was a 5, and we've had a top. Not the case. All right. Because you have the peak momentum always is in the wave 3. So that is marking the top, and then the red owl marks wave 4. All right. So that is where we are now. So let's take a look at this and see what type of, now this is the weekly chart, so long term, okay? Let's see where we're kind of at with this. I'm going to be a little conservative and put it here, though I probably could go further back. So we hit the target zone for wave 4, and we got a bullish pyramid here. And we got, I don't know if you can see it there at home, but a sliver of a green owl. So that's good, all right? So that is indicating a long position. So let's count the dots. All right. Elliott wave is pretty clear. Okay. And notice what you see here in the Elliott wave is a great pattern. A, B, C. Again, remember I said if you have to scratch your head more than a minute, don't take the trade. That's easy to see. See how it pops out at you? So that's a 4. Okay. So now we're looking for wave 5. So a long position makes sense for the Elliott wave, and that is what our software is telling us. So then the next question is, where is the target based on this time frame? And then we're going to go down to the shorter time frames, but this just gives you a good roadmap of where things are going. So if we grab the extensions down here and draw those bad boys here, we're talking about a high here of roughly 139 to 185, and we're sitting at 89. Not too shabby, right? All right, so DVA is looking pretty good on the weekly chart. Let's see if the smaller time frames are telling us to hold off, and they are really not. Okay, they are bullish. Again, I see no red in the owls, and I see no red in the PTFs. In fact, this one's green. All right, couple things. All right, so we've had this little leg up. All right, you definitely cleared this. You're probably going to get some type of pullback, but I wouldn't sweat it. It's probably going to be right around, maybe you might pull back to 85. You're having a little bearish divergence here. So if you wanted to be a little conservative and wait for that, that's fine. If you're going to be in this for a long time based on the weekly synopsis, then just go ahead and go in. All right, just put your stop under this pyramid or under the bottom if you can afford to do that. Okay. So I do think this thing is heading up. We're inside wave 5. What I like about this is we've had the move up, and there's your pullback. So I think this is a go. All right. This is an excellent one for today. DVA is a buy. Just make sure you put that stop. I put that stop under here at the very least. So you're talking about under this MP pyramid at 74.27. All right, 74.27. So excellent. Okay. So I'm liking that. I think that's a good one. All right. Anybody have any else here? Okay. I think I went through them all. If I missed anybody, type them in again now so I can see them. But I think we got them all. I'm going to just give you a second to think about if you want to put another one in, and we'll take it from there. All right. While you're doing that, hopefully we're almost in May, so hopefully everybody's starting to get a little warmer across the country. All right, say goodbye to snow for 6 months or so. All right, so I think that's good. I think I got them all. All right. So I think that's going to be it for today. All right. I think without any others, we're pretty good to go. All right. I want to appreciate everybody for coming. Good turnout and good stocks to look at. A lot of stocks. All right. So thanks to Al. Thanks to Jim. Thanks to Stu and iBelt. Very excellent. Is that Perry? Is that you? I think that might be you. Okay, not sure. If it is, thank you. Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and end here. All right, and we'll see you back here next week for Stock Analysis Friday. We do it every week at 8 a.m. Pacific time. All right, have a good one, everybody. And I'll throw up, let me throw up one of the intraday markets and put a little music on and see what's cooking on those. So this is the MES, which is the futures market for the micro E-mini. And it looks like we've had a pullback here. So this is probably on its way up, something like that right now. So it's looking pretty good. Green PTFs, except we got a red one here. So you got to hold off until that one turns green. Let's take a look and see what gold is doing here on the micro level. All right, so that's got green PTFs across the board. So it looks like, well, no, it doesn't, not on the 5 minute. So this is a 15-second, 1 minute, 5 minute time frame. All right, Al, my pleasure. You have a good weekend too. Okay, MCL. All right, this was one that came down to the target here and moved back up. So that's pretty good. Bearish divergence building. So we're kind of looking at that to fall through, and then we got the Dow here. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it pretty much. Let's see what the M&Q is doing here. All right, so all these rebounds we're seeing in the market looks like we're going to come back down short term. So that's kind of where we're at now. So I don't think I would take any trades at this point on any of these. A lot of times when we day trade, we actually have to wait a little while for the setup. Otherwise, we're scratching our head for more than a minute, right? All right, so that's it for today. Since I see nothing here, we'll go ahead and sign off. But have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you back here next week.